really loud here. I know no one's here yet, but the music is bumping. Welcome to the third game of the Sky's 3-game road trip. They're rounding it out in LA. And before we get into questions, just some talking points here for you guys. This is Candace Parker's first game back in LA since she signed with the Sky in 2021. Last year, she was injured for all the games that the Sky played against the LA Sparks. And, previous to that was the bubble season. So she really hasn't played in the Staples Center or Crypto.com arena since 2019. So talking to her before the game, she was really excited to be back here. She did say it was a little weird walking in for shoot around. She walked past the home locker room, obviously, and into the visitors, and that was super strange for her. She has a lot of family coming tonight, obviously. A lot of friends and family live in the area. And another player who has a lot of friends and family coming tonight is Gardner. She has 40 tickets going out to friends and family because she's also from California, graduated from UCLA in 2012. And this is the first time that a lot of her friends and family are seeing her play professionally. As you all know, as everybody knows, because she's been the talk of the season so far, or I guess the rookie that's received just a ton of attention this season so far. She played 10 years overseas. Her entire professional career has been overseas. And the only member of her family who's been able to see her play is her mom. And an interesting part about that is her mom was actually the person who encouraged her to get into basketball when she was 8 years old. It was the inaugural season of the WNBA, and her mom was like, hey, you got to sign up. You got to go out and play. And ever since then, she has been, and obviously it's turned into a professional career. So those are just a couple fun notes before we get started tonight. You guys submitted some great questions. I appreciate you guys for doing so. We're going to continue doing this. So it's great to see you guys interested in this type of live stream Q&A before a game. So the first question that we're going to take, there's that music. The first question we're going to take is from the Sky So Shy, and he asked how Lee is adjusting to the WNBA and Chicago. And, I think the best way to answer that is just to say how the team and she has come into the team and just the environment that they all have together. Like everyone just seems to have such a supportive friend energy to them. Like every time you're walking into practice, there's cheers not only for Lee if something's done, but for everybody. So I think as far as the support from the team, that's made the adjustment easier. And I think she's still working to get adjusted to the WNBA pace. It hasn't, obviously, she's coming into a team that's deep in the front court. This entire team is deep. So her minutes haven't exactly been high. But I think as she continues to adjust to the WNBA pace of play, we're going to see more minutes from her. We're going to see more production from her. And again, James and the entire Sky team is super excited to have her here. It's just been joy and smiles every time that question is asked. So, I don't want to speak for Lee, but as far as the team gelling goes, that has been great so far. Our second question is from Tiffany M. She asks, as the second half of the season is here, what lessons have you learned so far and will be taking into the second half? So I assume when she asks what lessons have you learned, she's asking what lessons have the team learned. And I think the biggest lesson that they're focused on is just continued development, continued rhythm being established between everybody on this roster. I know there wasn't a ton of turnover from 2021 to 2022 in terms of players leaving. It was really only Diamond DeShields and Stephanie Dolson, but those obviously were two significantly impactful players. They had been with the Sky for a minute, and losing them was not an easy thing to do, no matter who's coming in to replace them. As good as Rebecca Gardner is, as good as Emma Miesemann is, it still is going to take time to establish that rhythm. And I think that's been, the biggest lesson that James has been harping on is just every day a little bit better, a little bit better. This is a funny question. So last year I tweeted following the championship that Courtney Vandersloot saved my life on the championship bus. I was able to, get on the bus with the team and document kind of what was going on the celebratory bus. And this person asked how she saved my life. So here's the story. I haven't shared this out loud yet, but we were on the bus, and before departing from Winchester Arena, a security guard came on the bus and just notified us that at a certain intersection, there was going to be a bridge that we couldn't duck for. We needed to sit our butts down because, he just no risk. He didn't want anyone getting hurt. So he says, that's not for a while down the parade route. Don't worry about it. So I stand up at the front of the bus. I have my back to, the street. I'm documenting the players, not paying attention to kind of what's coming at me. And I just hear someone yelling my name. And at first I'm like, who could be yelling my name right now? It gets louder, louder. I look up and Courtney's screaming my name, and she just screams, duck your head. So I duck my head, and as I do, a street lamp just narrowly misses my head. And these things are huge metal objects. So at the very least, I would have been sent to the hospital. The parade would have been paused. My head would have been cracked open. I say she saved my life because I think that thing could have easily taken me out. But yeah, that's the story. And when I came up, Allie said, she looked at me and said, she doesn't just make assists on the court. And it was honestly one of the funniest moments of covering this team, and still remains one of the funniest moments of covering this team. The next question, sorry, I'm not saying everyone's names because everyone's names aren't in their Twitter handles, but the next question is, what are the details of Rebecca Gardner's contract, 1 year or multi-year? So Rebecca's is a 1-year deal right now. And honestly, I think that doesn't mean anything about her future in the WNBA. I think what we're seeing is that she has a future in the WNBA, and whether or not that's with the Sky is to be determined. But I do know that she values her relationship with this organization and with James Wade. So that's something that, we'll have to see once free agency comes around. But Rebecca's is a 1-year contract as of now. So we have one more question. The Sky Shashai actually submitted 2. So the last question, do you think there's any chance General Manager James Wade gets some extension signed for any current players before the end of this season? So this is a really good question. And the details and rules, relegating contract extensions are vast. And so I'm definitely going to send you over to her Hoop Stats who breaks it down incredibly. But I will say 2 interesting, possible extensions to watch for. And I haven't spoken to James about these 2 players yet specifically, but Candace Parker and Azrae Stevens. Candace Parker, obviously, we know, has discussed retirement. She has not made any statement as far as, this being her final year. She said, we even spoke about this today, and I asked her, as we're getting close to the middle of the season, we saw Sue Bird announce her retirement mid-season. Obviously, Sylvia Fowles announced her retirement at the top of the season. What are your thoughts? Have you done any reevaluating? And she simply said, I told you at the top of the year that when it gets to the off season and I'm no longer interested in training, that's when I'll know I'm done. So, that doesn't really mean anything at this point. She hasn't said she's retiring. And so the details of her contract, obviously it being a 2-year contract, she's coming up on the end of that 2-year contract. She could get an extension if she's interested in one. And also Azrae Stevens, the 1-year anniversary of her contract extension has passed. So she also could receive an extension with the Chicago Sky. I know, Azrae has grown incredibly, obviously, in this last year with the Chicago Sky, but she's someone who I could imagine wanting to entertain being an unrestricted free agent. I could see her being interested in that. But again, I have not brought up contract extensions with her, so those aren't her words exactly. That's just my perspective on things as they stand right now. So those are two players when it comes to contract extensions, I think are interesting players to just take a look at. And as I'm sitting here, I'm not like making eye contact with this stream because the players are warming up right now. So I'm just going to give you guys a little detail before we sign off here. But right now we got Allie Quigley out on the court shooting alongside Courtney Vandersloot. And on the other end, we have Liz Cambage coming out to do some pregame shoot around with some of her teammates as well. So Crypto Arena, the game tips off at 7:30 Pacific time, 9:30 Central time. My time zones, I was like, am I about to say this right or wrong? I don't know. But yeah, a little bit over 2 hours. No, wait, what time is it? It's 6 o'clock. So an hour and a half from tip off here at Crypto Arena. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to a couple little notes about tonight's game. One more that I'm going to leave you with after returning from being out 2 games due to a slight knee injury. Candace Parker returned for the game against the Las Vegas Aces, and after that game is experiencing, no problems, no pain. So she is once again not playing on any type of minutes restriction tonight, making her debut at Crypto Center Arena or Crypto.com Arena for the first time since signing with the Chicago Sky. Significant stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks so much for tuning in. Like I said, we're going to do more of these. Can't wait to field more of your guys' questions. These were great tonight. Really enjoyed it. Oh, here comes Emma Meeseman. That's going to do it for me here.